Happy Friday, everyone. We have Rosie and Sue. How are you, Sue R? Sharon Creates is here. Chelsea is lurking and driving. You be careful, honey. Alicia B is here. Hey, Denny. Denny Benini. That's what I call her. Knitting Artisan. How are you, Cindy? Chucker Steve is in the house. Yay. Diamond Girl is here. You made it. Oh, I hope you're feeling well. Hello, Catbird. How are you tonight? Those two are Cindy and Alicia are trying to beat each other knitting. Oh. Hi, Dana. How are you tonight? Maggie May, good to see you. I don't think I've seen you here before. Welcome. Oh, I was going to fix that silly Nightbot. Sally Birch, good to see you. Catbird, what catbird? What was that? Is there a catbird in here? Oh, catbird. Yes, there is a catbird. She's like, yeah, I'm right here. Tony's not just right. How are you, Tony? Oh my goodness. Feeling better every day. That is awesome. Awesome. I hope everyone is feeling well. Just so you guys know, there may be some sweating tonight. It is 108 and feels like 111. We are at the time of night where the heat is at its utmost, where it has built all day, and the house is trying to push it out. Air conditioners are just humming as much as they can, and I have fans on too, and it's still hot with two air conditioners. So with the lights and everything in here so you guys can see it's kind of hard. I usually keep them off, but I'm going to run with it, and we're going to go full speed ahead, because this is a really interesting case tonight I have for you. So without further ado, are you ready for tonight's story? Are you ready? Would you like to see what I'm knitting? Who wants to see what I'm knitting? And there it is. Oh. You had the grandbabies, haven't you, Denny? That's awesome. Well, they may be a little loud. I'm just letting you guys know. I don't know if you can hear them, but they're going to be running. We're not turning them off tonight. So this is one of my paw hats. So you can see on the paw is starting to show up right here. If you would like the pattern for this hat, it is on my website, fiberflooziecrafts.com. You can find the knitting. It is called a man's best friend knit beanie. So I am loving how it's turning out. This is the first time for me putting some stripes in here, but this is a custom order. Okay, you guys. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to get to the story. And when I get to my story, I usually do not watch the chat. I will come back and answer questions. If you have any questions that I cannot answer during the chat, go ahead and ask one of the moderators or someone in the chat, and they may be able to help you. And here we go. So this is the case of the catfishing marine murder. Now, this happened January the 2nd of 2006. These were two, let's put it this way, it was one total stranger and two people who were having a relationship on the phone, online relationship. And the person who was murdered had absolutely nothing to do with the other two. Nothing. Totally random. The person who was the victim in this case was a Marine by the name of Justin Huff. Now, Justin was known to all of his friends as Huff, just Huff. He was such a happy person. He was 23 years old at the time. He was married. He had a baby on the way. And his wife was living in California. And where this took place was in um, Virginia Beach. And there were two bases. There's a main base in Virginia Beach, and then there is a annex to it called Dam Neck, and that's DAMNECK, Dam Neck, and it was the annex to the actual base, and that is where Justin was. And he had decided, since his wife was expecting, he had wanted to get out of the service. He'd done 2 tours in Iraq, and he wanted to get out of the service, but after he met this girl and they got married and they had a baby, he decided he wanted to do more. He wanted to take care of his family. So he went ahead and went to West Virginia to do training with the Marines in intelligence, which is just totally ironic in this case. It really is. It's very, very ironic. You'll see why. His wife's name is Becca, and as I said, she was pregnant, living in California, and he himself was such a caring, generous person. He hated to see that anybody, he would help people even if he didn't know you. He was one of those kind of people. And this is probably what got him in trouble. And the way that it happened was that he was in his barracks, and he got this call that someone, he needed to come outside because someone needed his help to figure out what had happened with an assault that had happened on the base. So he went down to talk to this guy, and this guy tells him that his girlfriend, she had been attacked and all of this stuff, and he thought that he had something to do with it. And he tells him, he says, I listen, there's no way I would have been involved in this. He says, I'd like to help you, but the thing is, he says, I'm married. The most I do is go to the bowling alley every now and then. I don't go to parties. I don't do all that stuff. I go home and go to bed. He says, I'm training. I got stuff going on. It's not me. It can't be me. Now, the guy who was asking him the question's name is Cooper Jackson. And he also was an intelligence agent, but in the Navy. Justin was a Marine. Cooper was in the Navy. Cooper is from a small town called Boone's Mill in southern West Virginia. His father was a lot older in life by the time that Cooper was, um, graduated from school and was, ready to go into the service and all those things. His father was older, and he actually, by the time Cooper was off on his own, his father had already passed away, and he Cooper had not had much in the way of girlfriends. Okay, he really had never had anything that you would consider a um, girlfriend type relationship. He was totally oblivious to all of that by the time that he was in the service. There was a girl, and she was going by the name Samantha. She is the third person in this story. Samantha had called the base and she spoke to someone in the barracks. She actually was calling people randomly and she had the prefix for the barracks, and she called up there, and another guy had answered the phone and hung up and all of that. And Cooper said, well, she sounded cute, I'm going to call her back. So he called Samantha back, and he started a phone relationship with her. They had texts, they had phone conversations, they had, she sent him pictures of herself. Um, she sent him pictures of herself naked and all kinds of provocative pictures. The thing is, they weren't her. And this is considered catfishing. She told him that she was blonde, that she was 100 pounds, that she was 5 foot tall, which was true. She told him she was an art major, that like art history major, that she had a family in Texas that was wealthy, and that they owned like 3 houses along the Outer Banks, which is where all of this took place, this area called the Outer Banks. Is any of this sounding familiar to anybody? Right, catfishing. Someone's using photo that does not look like themselves. It's not their photo. They take it from somewhere and they put it up as if as if it's them, and it's considered catfishing. This is the same thing that happened in the Delphi murders. If you remember, this is what came out of that, was a guy who was catfishing young girls. That was that Keegan Klein. So if you remember, we've had something on this before. Okay. I got to get something to drink. So, of course, Cooper, who had not had any real relationship of anything, of any kind, he fell really hard for her, really hard for Samantha. He totally fell into this relationship. They started, they talked and talked and talked, and he thought she really liked him, and he really liked her. They were supposed to meet several times. Now, every time that he wanted to meet her, something would happen and she couldn't meet him. One time, she actually told him that she had been in a car accident. She was in the hospital. So, she couldn't meet him. Another time, they were supposed to get together, and I want to say this was like over the holidays. So they met in like when the phone conversation where they met was like in 2005, and so it was like somewhere in the middle of the year. So by the end of the year, we were hitting into some holidays, and they were supposed to meet for that. Well, that didn't happen, and he got really frustrated with this, and he started to think that things were not right. And he actually took her phone number and looked it up. He did, what do you call that, where they you know go trace it backwards. And he found someone with he found an address for that phone number, and he told Samantha, he says, I think I found you. And she says, oh, don't go to that house. She says, that's my friend's house. I am not at that house, and if you go over there, then they're going to wonder what the heck is going on. You know I don't want to upset them. So he did not go, and that actually was the house where she was living. Then she got scared. And with all of his starting to be upset with her that she would not meet him and all of these things, she thought she was going to lose him. She's going to lose this relationship. So she started to make up stories. And one of the stories she made up was that she really just didn't want to meet him because she had been to the base to a party, and that while at this party, she'd had sex with people at this party, and so she was embarrassed over the whole thing. Now, according to investigators, that actually did happen. She did go to a party on the base. She did have sex, with people. He made it up in his head because that she would give him very little information about it. In his head, he decided that she had been assaulted, that somebody had done that to her. And because she thought that that he was, figuring out things about her, she went ahead and went with that and said, yes, that's what happened. She went along with his story. So now he's got this story in his head, and she's embellishing it. And she makes up a whole story about how it happened, and she gives him a description of the guy. And turns out this description of this guy matches Justin Huff. Tall, muscular, um, everything. Everything about Justin is is what is what she tells him. And he actually starts to drive around the base. He drives around the base, and sorry, I don't want to lose my spot here. Hold on. He actually randomly runs into Justin in the cafeteria on the base. And he looks at him and he says, he looks like that guy. He he looks like the guy that she had, you know, described. So now he's convinced this guy that he saw was the guy that attacked her. He figures out what barracks he's in. He goes to his barracks, and he sees Justin outside of his barracks, and he talks to him, and he says, hey, he says, goes into the whole thing about the girlfriend and all of that stuff. And Huff actually tells a buddy of his, and the buddy's name is William Richards. And he tells him, he says, it's the weirdest thing. He said, I had this brief meeting with this guy who said he was an NCIS agent. Now that is the military, um, the like CSI for the military, the NCIS. And he said he was investigating a rape, and he asked him all these questions, and Huff said that he told him, he says, God, I don't have anything to do with this. And he says, have you got credentials? Can you show me your ID? You know, and the guy could not produce any credentials. So now Huff is like, well, he's like, okay, he forgets about it because he says, you know, it was just a freaky thing and maybe it's over with. Well, it was not over with. Justin's friend William Richards says that he is in the lobby of their barracks when this guy comes in, and he remembered this guy that came in and asked for Justin Huff. And the gal that was the clerk in the lobby tells him that, he's not there. And he talks to the guy and he says, you looking for Justin? He says, yeah. He says, well, we're on Christmas break. He said, he's not here. He won't be back till after Christmas break. And the guy leaves. Well, it turns out he turns out to be a key witness in this, because he actually saw what the guy looked like and he saw him leave. So he saw his vehicle. And the vehicle was a pickup which had a um, motorcycle strapped in the back of the pickup. And he gives when Justin goes missing, he gives them this information. He comes forward and gives them this information, and it helped them a lot to find Cooper. So now they have a vehicle description, because they had nothing. They didn't know what to do about Justin. They had nothing to go on, and he just disappeared. Well, they go to ask this guy. They look this guy up, is what they do, and they find now Cooper Jackson is in one barracks on one side of the base, and Justin Huff is in the barracks on another side of the base, because one was Navy and one was Marine. They pulled the surveillance cameras for both of those buildings and saw where Cooper leaving coincided with the same time that Justin was leaving his barracks. So they figured that they had enough that they could go and talk to him. Oh, something I failed to mention a minute ago. They put this alert out on him, and Huff's friends spotted the vehicle. Okay, and the reason they got Cooper's information was because they spotted that vehicle sitting there with the motorcycle on it, and they stopped him. It had three people in it, and they stopped him and they asked him a bunch of questions, and they grabbed his ID, and they turned that ID in to the military police. Okay, thank you, Joan. The Naval Criminal Investigative Service. Yes. Just looking to see if I've told you everything so far. Okay, this next part is tough. It is tough. So they, the military police brings Cooper Jackson in to talk to him, and he doesn't want to tell him anything. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. He doesn't want to give him anything. They try several ways to get him to tell him, you know, because they know that he has seen Justin, because he's been spotted. They have all this eyewitness stuff, and they told him. They said, well, you know, he says, have you been to this barracks and you asked this question and stuff? He says, they told him because he wouldn't answer anything. And they said, well, you know that we have cameras there, that there's cameras in that lobby. And he said, so he makes up a story. Cooper makes up a story, and he says, well, yeah, he says, I was out at a local bar, and he says, I came in contact with this guy, and this guy's name was David Hoff. And he said, he left his phone there at the bar. So he says, I just went back to over to the barracks to see if maybe I could return it. And they said, oh, really? He said, well, what did you do with the phone? He says, well, I thought I was going to get in trouble. Like maybe they would think I stole the phone. So he said, I just got rid of it. So, and then he began to make up even more stories, more lies, all of these things. And finally, they said to him, they said, man, they said, here's the thing about all these cases. They say, we try really hard. We really just want to bring the family some sort of closure. And we can't do that until we have all the facts. And they say, we really want the family to know that what happened to their loved one. And here's this guy that, he's had this wife, and the wife is pregnant, and we have nothing to tell her, And he finally breaks. And he says, he tells him what happened. He said, yeah, he said he brought him out there and he was talking to him. And he told, Justin Huff told him, he said, I didn't have anything to do with it. And he says, well, you know what? And this is the way he talked him into it. He says, you know what? He says, if you didn't have anything to do with it, he says, then I'm going to need you to come with me so we can clear your name. And he handcuffs him and puts him in his pickup and drives off. And all the way, they drive down the coast along the Outer Banks to North Carolina. And all along there, they are talking, and Huff is trying to explain to him that he doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't have anything to do with this. And Cooper's starting to believe him. He is starting to believe that he had nothing to do with it. However, now Cooper says he felt like he'd gone too far. He'd gone too far, and he felt like if he stopped now, that he would get in trouble, and it would ruin his career. And so he drove off of the side of the road, down a road into the woods. He made Huff get out of the car. He walks him. He's still handcuffed. He walks him into the woods, puts his knee in his back, shows him the gun, and he starts asking him again. And the whole time Huff was like, man, I can't help you. It was not me. And I don't have any information. Just let me go. We'll forget about all of this. But instead, he pulls out a knife, leans his head back, and cuts Huff's throat. Takes him into the woods and buries him, removes his wallet, gets rid of the wallet, the knife, the gun, the handcuffs, and everything. Where he had taken him, where there was a bridge nearby with some water running under there. It was like a, I don't remember the name of this river area, and they were working on this bridge. So there was a lot of concrete and stuff all along under there, and he threw all of that into the water, and the divers were able to find all of it. So Cooper took them out to where he did this and showed them where that he had come off the road, showed them where he had made Justin kneel, told them everything, and then actually showed them that he, with his hand, that he had cut his throat, and showed absolutely no remorse at all for any of it. No remorse at all. Hey, Julie, welcome in. Yeah, Nightbot's pretty adamant about Instagram, y'all. Now, at the time that this happened, Justin Huff was 23, Cooper Jackson was 23, and the girl that called herself Samantha was 22. And this Samantha had been calling strangers since she was 15 years old. She'd been doing it it's like, what, 7 years she'd been doing it? Her name is Ashley. I have her name. Her name is Ashley Elrod, and she was actually a clerk at a hotel. She came to testify. Now, she got up on the stand. She seemed remorseful. She admitted that she may have told Cooper that her attacker was named Huff or Huffman. When she walked into the courtroom, the military police and everyone said that they felt like that is the exact moment when Cooper Jackson realized what he had done. Because in walks this 5-foot tall brunette that weighed over 300 pounds. Nothing like what he had been told, and nothing like the pictures that she had catfished him with. At the time that what they had was a Article 23, I believe is what they call it. So this was because they were both military. This happened as a, and this Article 23, I guess, is like kind of like a grand jury. And Cooper Jackson at the time was a petty officer, 3rd class in the Navy. He pled guilty to premeditated murder, kidnapping, impersonation of an NCIS agent, and obstruction of justice. Oh, he was absolutely stunned. They said there was that's when he finally knew, when it finally hit him what he had done. Huff would have been a corporal in the army, and he was 23. Now, Cooper, here's what Cooper said about what he did. His exact quote was, "Quite frankly, I was scared of the consequences of being caught, more so than I was of the consequences of taking his life." His exact words. So I ask you guys, I ask you guys, when it comes to online stuff, right? You know, where we talk to people, I talk to all of you. Um, when you're talking online to people, what do we really know about them? What do we really know? If something is too good to be true, it probably is. Especially when somebody seems very nice, everything is great, there is absolutely no wrong, no negative, no anything. They don't ever have any problems in their life or anything at all. That's probably a little too good to be true. We don't have an in-person reference because if you've never met this person, you don't have that sense of them that you have when you meet them in person. And everything that you know, everything I know about you guys are thus what you have told me. Everything you know about me, unless you have met me or we know each other offline, and even then, if we haven't met, everything you know about me is what I've told you. That's important to keep in mind. And stuff like this does not just happen between males and females. It can happen between two women who become friends, two guys become friends, all of that kind of stuff. You know, it's not it there is no, it's across the board. So, I will tell you that I met Mr. Fiber online, and I was lucky. I had a few people I met online before that that wasn't so great. That didn't go so well. And we won't talk about that, but I mean it was not great. Yeah, I'm lucky to be here. And I met Mr. Fiber, and that was, gosh, it's almost 20 years. We've been together almost 20 years, and it worked out great. And everyone tells me that I'm the only one that they know that worked out well for. Yes, Huff was a Marine. Cooper was Navy. Yeah, and the girl got absolutely no charges because here's how they decided on that one. It was because it it wound up not, when they sorted everything out, that it wound up not being her idea to kill Huff, that she agreed and embellished what she said to Cooper, but it was not her idea. Cooper came up with all of it on his own. It was all in his head. Whoa, Joan. Yeah. Yeah. Too good to be true, wasn't it? So I I don't agree, to be honest, that she got off without having any charges on her at all. I don't agree with that. I think there should have something should have been done, but this was done. This was military. She was a civilian. There was not a lot they could charge wise they could bring on her, and it was not her idea. It was Cooper's idea. Hey, that's good. You excused yourself, went to the bathroom, and then ran like hell. Awesome. That was smart. That was the smartest thing you did there, huh? Absolutely. So yeah, you guys, you've got to be really careful with the online stuff. Um, I know that we have talked about this before, that we want to, and I'm still working on a guest to help, um, to come on and talk about the online stuff with this. I think it would be great. I'm still working on that. I'm not sure who to get right now. So we'll see. I had Anthony on and he had mentioned some people. So we'll see how it goes. But I don't know anything about that's, yeah, Sharon knows about the writing and meeting, but that guy was already locked up. So yes, everyone wears a mask. Remember, everyone puts their best foot forward immediately. Absolutely. It's just part of human nature that they put their best foot forward. And I know there's been so many of these cases now come out of the catfishing. So many people who are not who they say they are. You just don't know. I'm sure we all could, we've all been online since what, the early 2000s. We could all come up with some stories now, couldn't we? About, depending on where you guys began your life online. I know, a cybercrime of some sort. I mean, oh, is there a whole show about it? There's a Catfish the TV show. I didn't know that. Now, see now, Trucker Steve, you're going to start talking some of the language I know around here with Mr. Fiber, and that is probably message boards. Am I right? Yes, you must be making popcorn. People are using decades old. Yes, that's one of the biggest ones that people do. And having lots and lots of uh, profiles all over too. Okay, what am I doing? I forgot what I was doing. I better stop. See, I messed it up. I messed it up, you guys, because I was not paying attention. That one's okay. But I messed that one up. Now I got to go back. Now I got to tink it. Y'all know what tink means? Tink means knit backwards. Let's see, Sue. I did not see them earlier because I was watching my notes. But hello. Hello. Was there something else? If you said something to me earlier, I was looking at my notes. Hi, Sandy. Okay, hi. Just saying hi. Hello. Okay. So that is all I've got for you guys for tonight. Does anybody have anything that they would like to talk about? Any cases you want to talk about? Anything? Anybody? I know. I feel the same way, Kat. I do. I feel the same way, like something really should have been done about her. I mean, you guys, you heard the story I told you about the case that Mr. Fiber was on. Thank you, Joyce. I appreciate you too. Okay, Sue. Thank you. How many years? Ooh, I don't know that they ever said how many years he got because I don't know how that works with the military, where he went, where he wound up going. Um, I wasn't able to find that. Oh, you finished it, Joan. I've got like 50 pages left to finish. I need to do that. I may go sit. It's really cold in our bedroom usually. I may go sit in our bedroom and finish my book tonight. That's a great idea. Yeah, psychopathic vibes, absolutely. AOL chats. Yeah. Well, and before that there was message boards too. Oh, Mike, I don't have that book. It's in the bedroom next to the bed, so I can't show it. But she's talking about Mike King's book. He has a channel here on YouTube called Profiling Evil. And the book he wrote is called Deceived, and it is where he and some other investigators wound up taking down the Zion Society cult, and that was in Utah. Yeah, I don't think this was the first time. She'd been doing that for a while. The Joel guy, oh, the Joel Guy Jr. case, I know it was a wild one, but oh my gosh, I don't know if I could sit through that trial and watch that guy. That guy is just such a creep. He's such a creep. Yeah, maybe it's at Fort Knox. I don't know. I don't know where they sent him, and I don't know how long he that they put him there. Well, that's cool. It's cool that you're learning from it. Oh, okay, you guys. I'm out of here. I am going to turn the lights off in here, and I'm going to go get some supper. And we will be talking soon. Tomorrow morning, positivity, you guys. No negativity tomorrow. And what did you guys think of my new intro that I did? What did you guys think of that? I'm gonna have to go check that out now. Absolutely. See if I can't check out Catfish the show and see what I can learn from it, and we can talk about some of that. I'll try to do that, you guys. See if I can. You like the intro? Do you guys is the music okay, you think? Mr. Fiber says, "Well, that's really uplifting music." He's so funny. I'm glad you guys like it. I'm really wanting to get one more professional looking. So I'm going to keep working. I'm going to leave that one for now, but I'm going to work on it. I like it, but I really think it needs something. It needs a little bit of something to pull you in. You know what I mean? So I'm going to keep working on it. It is a little eerie. That's what I like about that too. I'm going to go have a salad with nutritional yeast and avocado dressing. I know my murder sloth. Oh my goodness. No, I did not hear about that one. I am watching right now. I'm watching the Rebecca Rude case. So I have lots of notes on that one, and so I'm building that one as I go watching the case, and I'll be covering that soon. Oh my goodness. What? Okay, which case was this one? Which one was that, Steve? Funeral director who sold the body parts, Megan Hess. Keeps giving me these good things to look up, and I haven't covered them yet. I'll get there though. Okay. Oh, the one in Colorado. Okay. Megan Hess out of Colorado selling body parts. I'll check that out. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. And have you guys seen that Lake Mead in Nevada, that it's drying up and they're finding bodies in Lake Mead? Have you guys seen about that? We may be talking about that on Sit and Knit. Okay, you guys, I'll see you in the morning. You guys have fun today. Stay cool and have a great weekend if I don't see you again. Okay? Y'all take care. Thank you to all of you. Thank you to my moderators, to everybody who watches on replay. I love you guys. Also, my lurkers, everybody. I appreciate you very much. And we'll see you again soon.